Hey everyone. I never imagined that I would be up here giving a testimony. Um, the Netherlands is really in my heart, and I'll tell you why. I was into New Age. I had a need for the truth. Um, I had somewhat of a difficult upbringing, and I had a lot of questions that the world couldn't answer. If there was a God, then why would there be suffering and why would I have to experience so many things? Um, so it was a blessing. And it brought me to a lot of different mistakes. In New Age, I traveled the world seeking for an answer, but I only found the answer in the Bible. The answer was Jesus. And when I found him, I knew I had to give my life to him. I'm from England. My name is James, by the way. And yeah, I knew that I had to give my life to Jesus. There was no other way. I tried all the other options. And I came across Torben's videos or TLR of him healing on the street. And I knew that I had to become a disciple of Christ. If this is the answer, then we have to live for this. We have to give our all and leave everything behind. So with that in mind, I left England. And as it was mentioned yesterday, at that time there were two main schools for TLR. There was the school in Voorthuizen in the Netherlands and also in Denmark. And so I joined the team in the Netherlands. And actually, just to mention why it's so special here is because I wanted to get baptized. I had this longing to know Jesus. I wanted to get baptized, and at the time, I wasn't a member of a church. I was traveling around a lot, and I wanted to get baptized.
He's talking about 2018. Just keep that in
Yeah,
mind.
like 7 years ago or so. And I wanted to get baptized in the church, and they wouldn't allow me. I had to go through a course. They said I wasn't ready and so forth. But this is something that I really needed, you know. I knew I was ready for this. I was ready to die for Jesus. I wanted to just know him, know the truth, because I'd been searching my whole life. To me, this is the meaning of life. My whole childhood had been misery, and I was searching for the truth of life. Why are we living? In fact, yeah, a couple of times I had attempted suicide, but I knew there was more to life. And so I really had to be baptized, and the church wasn't, in that respect, the answer for me. And what I want to say is I was like 5 minutes away from where we used to live in England at that time. I was baptized in the river there by my brother, and it was so special. That whole week had been like rain, and it had been really windy and stormy. But on that day that we set aside to be baptized, the water was absolutely still, and it was like God had created that day just for me, and it was such a blessing. Yeah, and I want to say that. Yeah, I was baptized, and the next day I had my intake for the PTS, and that was with Hester. God bless you. And I was so nervous to do my intake. I was thinking maybe they won't let me in because I'm such a new Christian. I have so much to learn, you know. I had all these anxieties, but thank God Hester let me join the PTS, and I could begin my new journey with Christ. And so this is why the Netherlands is really important for me. I love you guys. And thank you. And yeah, I remember on my PTS, Ton was also there. I love you, man. We were on the street, and we went round, and it was the first time that I experienced like praying for people. I remember we encountered a Muslim man, and he didn't want to be touched, but we prayed for him, and miraculously his back was healed. And that was just like a sign, like it's not me, it's God. Like God is amazing, and he is working, and he could work. If he could work through me, he could work through anyone. Believe me, because I'd made so many mistakes, and I knew I wasn't some holy man sent here on earth, but God could work through me. We had a couple of PTSs on the, a couple of kickstarts on the PTS. One of them was with hands down, I remember. And so I have a really nice connection with the Netherlands here. Another reason is on the second PTS we went, it was to France. And that's where I happened to meet my lovely wife. So God really worked. As soon as I gave my heart and surrendered to God, God just made everything available. He just provided everything I ever needed and more. So now currently I'm living in Belgium 5 years now. I gave up my old life, and this is the life that we share together. We have a couple of fellowships. We've had a few fellowships around Belgium. And it keeps growing. We keep doing things differently. I want to say as well, when I first came to Christ, I was traveling around a lot. I went to Poland and Germany and different kickstarts around the world. And I think what God is showing us now, that we have to be active where we are, in the communities here, locally, and you don't have to travel far away to be a disciple. You can be a disciple exactly where you are. I think that's a calling for all of us. It's not just for the few, it's for every single one of us. And if we can do it, then you guys can as well. There will be a few examples of fellowships here that you will hear about. I would say that you don't have to do it the same way that we do it, the examples that we have. But so long as you do it, that you step out and you're not afraid to make mistakes, and you just go ahead and trust God with the rest, and He will provide. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. Hello, I am Meryem. My story is totally different. I'm going to keep it short, but I was actually born in a Catholic Orthodox religion. But when I talk about Catholic and Orthodox, I'm talking about Eastern Orthodox, and it's totally different than the Western Catholicism. So the first 10 years of my life, I was born in a country, in Islamic country, Turkey, where we were a small Catholic Orthodox village persecuted by the Islam, basically. And so the first 10 years of my life was really trying to survive in an area where there was a lot of poverty, wild animals, snakes, scorpions, very poor. I couldn't read and write until I was 10 because we couldn't afford that. So being born in such a society with a lot of religion was really hard, especially as a woman. You didn't have a voice. It was really a man culture. So for me to ever step out of that system, it's a system. It's, religion has a lot of faces. Some call it, some are stuck in Islamic religion, some in Jewish religion, but it's all religion, and the same unclean spirits are behind it, and it can really suffocate you. It can really take the life out of you. So I had to, the place where we lived was bombed, so we had to run away from there, and we ended up in Belgium, in Flanders. And so now, first, the enemy was, back then in Turkey, was Islam, because we were persecuted by that. And we thought, we're coming to a Christian nation, Belgium, Christian nation. But actually, what we saw was so many other religion. And what did my parents do? Oh, overprotection. We have to keep you away from the world. So the religion became even more harsh, harsher. And Well, what happened is, especially, I said, as a woman, you didn't really have a voice. So I started to question, like, hey, but what I'm taught in my family and in the churches that I go, it's not what I read in the Bible. So something must be wrong. And it was a really hard battle back then. But then I forward to when I was 24, I'm still a student, and then I discovered Jesus. And it's a different Jesus than what I saw in my family, in the culture, in the community that was oppressing us. And it's like what Leo and Rebecca said. It takes so much time to get the religion out of you. It's so different now. We can do better work than how we had to struggle. So I came to faith when I was 24, and it was really, really a radical conversion. You know, it was so radical, but I thought, that's all. I am converted now. I have Jesus. I didn't know anything about the Holy Spirit, didn't know anything about the power of being baptized. And then in 2014, so we were already 4 years having a fellowship. I was leading there a group as a woman, which was weird. I thought, I don't have a voice. But now we're leading a house church at my parents' house, and sometimes we were there with 40 people. Like, together with our friends, Johan and Lydia, we were leading that group, and I never dreamt of that, but God had a different plan. So then I discovered Torben, and I'm like, wow, I came to faith, and now I step out of the Catholic churches and communities, and now I'm in this evangelical circuit, kring, but it's still not the same as what I read in the Bible. And even that, the life was, sucked out. And I didn't know about the foundation. This is so important that we lay the right foundation of a good spiritual birth. That's so important. That's the foundation where all the other is built on it. But I had to figure out everything myself. And then I see Torben, and he's just saying everything that my heart is screaming for, and he's putting that into words. So that was like a sign, we need to go there. And it was actually a kickstart in Alkmaar, here in the Netherlands. So we went with our house group there, and some got baptized there, and I met Torben, and I was filled with the Holy Spirit on the street while doing street evangelism. We were crazy, like, let's go for it. Nothing can stop us now. We have the Holy Spirit. And that the religion that I was carrying with me was really lifted up. I always thought I'm not good enough. I'm not a good enough Christian. And yeah, I had to let that go. And then going into the water, dying of all of that, everything that I was carrying out, coming out, we came back to Belgium. And Leo and Rebecca weren't back then. They were still stuck in their church. We didn't know them back. And we were like, okay, we are just 2 women. And Johan is sitting there, 2 women. And actually, we were all students, young kids. We didn't have other examples. We couldn't ask questions at our parents. We had to just figure out ourselves. So it was so funny because I shared on Facebook, hey, Kickstart Day at that place. And suddenly 80 people appeared, people that we don't even know. That was so weird, like, wow, people are hungry. And then we went on the streets. There was a season that we went a lot on the street to train also people. So groups started. We had different groups. And we gave them all names, like the Jesus Club, the PTS group, where we brought the lessons. But meanwhile, it was so nice that I could come so many times to the Netherlands. We had so many kickstarts with Torben, with Jan. We had kickstart seminars in Italy, in Croatia. So it was so beautiful to see Norway. Also with Torben, it was in Paris. That's when I met him, in Paris. It was really amazing, and we could just carry that back with us. And then different house groups started. At this very moment, I want to say 2 things about 2 house groups that we are following in. So in Antwerp, there is actually another Orthodox Catholic, and I'm talking about a church of thousands of people. You are born in that church, you die in that church, different generation. And when we find just a short example. We found one person, a woman, who was actually also suffering like I was suffering under that religion. And when we find her, that was a person of peace. It led us to 45 people. So out of that community, we baptized 45 people. And what happened? One of the church service was all about us. It's a cult, that Meryem and James is a cult, and we heard you have to pay like 5,000 euro fee to be member of their club. So go, man, go to your wives, go to your daughters, and if you have to force them with violence, do it, because you have to get them out of that cult, you know? A whole Catholic church service went about what we are doing. Crazy, right? So, and that group is really has become an underground church. And really underground. I mean, like, we follow them up like once a week. We need to do online with them. Why? Because an example is one woman who has to delete constantly her messages because her husband goes through her messages. So that is an underground group. And then we have other free groups where we don't care, we are a family, everything is natural, and that's right now, Christophe is part of that group as well. It's really family. You don't have to force things, you don't have to, we are the leaders. No, it just grows naturally, the Holy Spirit is there, people get visions, dreams, they just share it, and I love that, the simplicity of the gospel. You bring the gospel and the Holy Spirit does that. And that's actually what, but it's so much bigger than just us. It's a whole team, and we have also in West Vlaanderen other people. So even that, Belgium is a small country, but it's even, big for us. So there are more than just us, and just obey. I want to say to the ladies here, it doesn't matter if you are a woman or a man, as soon as God has called you and you say yes to Jesus, then you have a job to do. So we are all called to be disciples, and no positions, and this is all tricks of the devil to keep us discussing about things, just discipleship, simple discipleship, obeying that, and God will do the work.
We have a few of our fellowship here. Maybe you guys can stand up, just show yourselves. Yeah.
So it's, like I said, not us. The honor is also to God, of course, but the work that they do as well. And it's. I just wish you all to have that family, to have that group where you can be totally yourself in freedom, the freedom of the Holy Spirit, the freedom of Christ. That's really, that fellowship is so important.
And I'd just like to say as well, when we first started fellowship groups and stuff, Belgium was somewhat divided. We have the Flemish-speaking part, and then we had the French-speaking part. But now we have the blessing of working with Leo and Rebecca and working together for the greater good.
Thank God. He's British. His French is like zero, and seriously, my French, I had enough of learning Dutch then. So French was too much for me, so thank God. So we work together. It's not like they only do the French and we only do this. And no, we are just one team. We share things together. Sometimes we come together. And that's amazing that, we can just see that DNA in each other and help each other as long as we are on earth. Voilà.